Things are really heating up in the Golden Lap season. After the last race, the gap between us and Pope in the standings has never been closer. Little recap of last week then, and we went into quali getting a triple golden tune for both drivers. Von Heim was consistently faster than Rodriguez as well, which is the first time he's out-qualified Rodriguez since week 2, believe it or not. Yan Xiao perfectly timed it amongst the increasing water on the track and managed to nip us into 9th. So we started 10th and 11th off the grid and immediately dropped 4 places. Meanwhile, Moretti at the front took the lead into lap 1, but things just didn't pan out for us, really. There's not much to say. The one-stop gamble for Rodriguez didn't pay off. We just didn't have the race pace, and I think the reliability has become a real bugbear for us. So hopefully this week things will be better. The drivers obviously didn't pit towards the end. We're still not sure what happened there. I've double-checked this. We did not give them the instruction too late. Even having been lapped by Ferrari, they had enough time. Despite Schwarzwaldering being a dangerous track, there was no fatalities and no flags. We came home in 14th and 16th, with Von Heim finishing ahead of Rodriguez for the first time again since week 2, and we hope to do better than that this week. On the driver's side, there's been very little movement. In fact, the only movement since last week is that unfortunately Yan Xiao has overtaken Carlos Rodriguez. Moretti, meanwhile, at the top. 2 wins in a row means they extend their gap over Levi Mack, who honestly everybody I think thought was going to be the favorite here. On the constructors side, I mean, there's no movement at all for the second week running, and things are mostly settling down in the top 4. Wayland could still give Chapman a run for their money, but they're 7 points down. They need to do something this week if they're going to make that play. But the big story for us, at least, is that Pope have closed in and are just 1 point behind. We can't allow this. We've got to do everything we can to fight Pope in these last 3 races, but it's going to be tough. I'm not going to sugarcoat it. I'm not going to lie to you. This is going to be an uphill battle to protect our 5th place going into the end of the season. The reason for that is we have had car reliability issues for weeks. And last week, we were going to pit for some repairs, and the drivers they didn't pit. They claim they didn't hear the instructions. Our comms team says the technology was working correctly. I don't know where to put the blame on that one. And that leaves us in a position. Both of our cars are looking a little bit worn down, to say the least. And unfortunately, with only $5 in the bank, we can only fix one of the 4 low reliability parts that we have. And it's gonna be Rodriguez's engine. Team RT, you gotta hear me out, okay? Firstly, Rodriguez has not received any sort of improvement in the last 2 weeks. So it is time that we give them a little bit of a boost. But also, that engine at 27% is just not good enough. Now, we could upgrade it and get them a little reliability boost, 6 to 10. It would maybe put them at 37, which wouldn't be terrible, but it may end up putting them at 33, which, I mean, that's a third of the reliability. Either way, it's looking bad. Performance would go up by 5 to 6. I feel like there's some performance scaling on the reliability as well that we're not seeing. So I don't know that we'd get the full bonus out of that. Or we could build a new engine. This would be much bigger in performance and would take us, 30 to 53. It's a gamble. But if you consider that upgrading could be as low as 33, the extra 100 performance, I think it's going to work better overall. And even if we just upgraded Rodriguez's car, we'd have $2. We wouldn't be able to do anything else. And we need to have 2 cars in the fight to keep Schaub at bay. Because let's be real, Kukkonen is not a threat to us, really. It's all Schaub. It's Yan Schaub, lead crasher of the season, who in the first few races we honestly thought might perish. And I'm not saying he should have, but the fact that he survived is a miracle. And now he's here causing us problems. It's time to upgrade the engine and get that second car back in play. So let's do it. Let's build a new engine. 37%. Okay, it wasn't going to be any better by upgrading, but this way the performance is boosted. It could have been so much more, but let's put that new engine on. They're very close together still in performance, and you see RT still has the better car, so Rodriguez really did need this. I don't know what we're going to do about this reliability, but if either car does not look like it's going to be in the points today, we're going to have to get aggressive with our reliability pit stops. I don't want to risk a points position because points are more important. I know we said we don't really want to sacrifice them positions, even if they look like they can still be competitive. But I think now anything 11th and below with no chance of a 10th has to be an extra reliability pit stop towards the end. Now we know that we can't risk doing it 2 to 3 laps from the end because that's what we did before. And neither driver came in, but there it is. Now, Circuit Erste. Erste? I have Belgian friends. I feel like I asked them how to pronounce this when I recorded the last episode, and I've forgotten since. So sorry about that, guys. The circuit for this week. The stage of the next round of fighting between Knight and Pope, or should I say Knight and Jan Schaub. Jan Schaub must be feeling like a 1970 Max Verstappen at this point. His teammate is nowhere to be found, and he's the one carrying the team. But Circuit Erste. I'm going to go with Erste. Is wet, which means we have a chance to potentially bring Escarso back into it, our wet weather specialist. And it's bumpy. 20% extra chance of a crash. Now, we know if there's anybody that likes crashing, it's Jan Schaub. I mean, it's kind of also Artie von Heim by this point in the season. And we hope it's not going to be von Heim. But if anybody's going to crash, maybe Jan Schaub will be the one. You will also notice, because the later tracks have the dangerous trait, this is the last non-dangerous track of the season. So fatalities could throw a spanner in the works for anybody towards the end of the season in the last 2 races. But today, we're unlikely, or at least less likely, to see a fatality, and we never want to see one. So let's see then. Let's go into round 8 out of 10 of the 1970 season as we head to Belgium and Circuit Erste. And it is wet to start this session, but supposedly it will dry up later on, and so we might see some strategy come into play here. Oh, I just hope we time it better than Schaub this week. Circuit Erste then has a long start-finish straight, the Goudenglade. I'm going to get all of these pronunciations probably wrong, by the way. Into a first sharp left-hander, the Tulpenbocht. Round the right-hander of Heldhaftige Bocht. It's just a little bit easier on him. But then it's a tight, twisty section. It's Fluwellenweg, Ridderskroon, and then it's a cheeky double corner. You come round to this right-hander at the Azurenboog, something like that, and then you snap left. And then it's power on as you head down the Drakkenstart, all the way until you reach Fluisterende Pienbommen, round the Valkenwulkt, and then into left and right, the chicanes, the second tight twisty section of this lap. Vensput, until you then end up with one more chicane to go before you hit the start-finish straight once again. The cloud's not giving us a good view of the circuit as I described it there, but let's let the drivers get out, shall we? As the rain on track is not huge. It's not a lot of rain. I think we can get away with dry tires on this, and Escarso's benefit to us might come in handy a little bit here. The extra 10% of dry tires on a wet track. Now, Gabriel Escarso feels invigorated. No partying for them. And that's going to be amazing for us because Gabriel Escarso is ours. And we love to see that. They are really feeling like they can bring something to the team today. They can let their abilities shine. And hopefully that's what they'll be doing. Karina Hörsler of Hemlock partied a bit too hard. Again, we know they do it. Even before a wet weekend, they will party. I've said a million times by now. Doesn't bear repeating really how much I disdain the lack of responsibility that some of these drivers have, but it is what it is. As we start the session, we're going to tune them up. I feel like we don't even need into. I feel like we can get away with softs right now because the water on track is so small and it will come good again at the end. But until at least the last run of the session, this is going to be what it's all about. So I feel like the last run, there's slightly more water on track, but everyone will have tuned their cars better. So that will be where it all comes to a head, I think. But at least for now, we've got to do something good. So let's get out there. Let's throw them on softs. And the moment they're ready, we're going to send them straight out. And indeed, we do get out before everyone else. And this could be crucial for our position in the provisional standings after the first run. We just need to make sure everybody else comes out before we get around. And it doesn't look like everybody else is. Most of them are. How's their space going to be? Are they going to find a gap? No. Whoa, actually, Von Heim looks like he's okay. Also, Rodriguez looks like he's okay. So let's see how they do. You're going to see the sectors light up green or purple for us, actually, as the first one's out. Purple and green. Purple, obviously, fastest of anybody. Green is personal best. And white, which you won't see any of from anybody in the first run, is that they have not improved on their previous time. So, the time to beat from Von Heim is a 1:34.6. Rodriguez is only 0.02 seconds behind Von Heim. So it is extremely close between them. They start to file in. Crucially, we are 7/10 ahead of Schaub, which is a great start. An absolutely phenomenal start for us. Now, on to tuning. Arguably some of your favorite part of the weekend. So let's get tuning. Now, we need a lot of steering. There's a lot of corners. There's so many corners on this track. And yes, we're going to need the engine for good starts and for accelerating out of those corners. But I believe steering is going to be the most important thing here. So let's have a look. We can do 1 to 2 for 1, which is the equivalent of about 5 to 10 of this. But this is 6 to 20. We go big. We get the 6. Oh, that's a bad start. That's a bad start right here for Von Heim. Now it's the 1 to 2 or the 4 to 7. That would be a 3 to 6. 4 to 7 is better. 1 to 2 or the 2 to 4. We're going to keep it low on this one. We got the 2. That's good. A 3 to 6. We're going to do that again. 2 to 4 would become 5 to 10. A 2 to 15. Oh, we're going to gamble. And a 13 to seal it. Okay, we're about a third of the way to a golden tune for Von Heim. It could be so much worse. Okay, it could be so much worse. We can just about squeeze in maybe a soft lap over the course of the... You know what? Nobody's going to improve anyway. Let's not have them crash. We're going to play it safe with the inters on Von Heim. Rodriguez, time to tune you up as well. We're also going steering. So this would be 1 1/3, which is 4 to 8. We've got to gamble. 13! A big start for Rodriguez. Times this by 2.5. 5 to 12.5. Let's not push our luck. Okay, 3. 3 is 3, I guess. That's all I can say about that, really. 1 1/4 of that. 3.75 to 10. Let's gamble again. We got the 11. We love to see that. A 2 to 5 becomes 4 to 10. You see, the problem with this, anything over 5 makes this worth it, maybe. But below that, it's a number that we could have just got by only spending 2. So we're going to do that. And then we're going to hit the 1 to 5. And then we get the 1 to 3 at the end as well. Rodriguez actually tuned better there. We're halfway to the golden tune already. And so we should see Rodriguez close the gap, maybe overtake. I mean, it's not going to be in the standings because they've already gone out and had their faster lap, which they'll have had with the softs, but potentially can at least show that their second lap will be faster than Von Heim's second lap. Let's go for a lap around the circuit. I think we usually do it with Von Heim, right? So let's go for a lap around with Rodriguez as they come to these final 2 straights. That last chicane, you've got to get it right because that dictates how your lap starts. A sharp left, you've got to keep your eyes right though, looking through the pits. An easier right-hander, and then it's the twisty-turny section. Keep your car on the track through these fast corners. The snap left onto the big straight as they put the power down. Then it's into 2 right-handers and another twisty section towards the end. It's very technical, this track, as Rodriguez seems to make light of it. That final chicane just as important at the end of the lap as it is at the start. Until we get to that end there, I don't think we have any need to look at the timings in terms of the standings because it's going to be wet. So let's get this steering set up for Von Heim. What do we got here? 1 2/3, 5 to about 11. 6 to 19 is way better. And the 13 is big. The 13 is very big. A 2 to 6 here. It offers about the same as this. So we're going to do that. I only got the 1. A 3 to 9. There's no real benefit to doing the 3 again as well. If we got the 3 there, this could take us to a golden tune if we get this immediately. Times 2.5. You're looking at 5 to 12.5. Oh, let's just go big. Oh, we didn't get it. We need 12 still. So for now, let's put some into the chassis and send out Von Heim on the inters. Another reason to do the inters is I don't want them sliding off the track, crashing. We really need to be controlling our odds as much as we can right now. Any bad luck will potentially ruin our season this late on. So Rodriguez, what have we got? The steering is looking like we're going to stick with the 1 at the moment. This is going to be times 1.25, 5 to 12.5. I don't think it's worth the big one. Oh, that's a payoff right there with the 10. We only got 22 that we need to get now. This is exactly the same, so we're just going to spend less. And here we might be able to get the golden tune. I have to take that first gamble. It does not pay off, unfortunately. That's 1 for each of them that hasn't paid off. The 2 to 4, the 1 to 5, and we are now just 9 away from the golden tune on the steering for Rodriguez. Let's get that tuned out on the inters and sent out And, you know, lap times don't really matter now as much as feedback because it is wet, it is cloudy, the lap times are not really there. You've got some people improving in a single sector across the track, and their tuning seems to be outweighing the lack of performance they had in the dry, apparently. But there's no lap times fully improving, I don't think. I mean, Schaub's taken a couple tenths off us. Maybe we can go back onto softs quicker than we thought. I mean, we definitely can, actually, because we have a Scarso. So maybe that's what we do. There's a yellow flag, and that is for Steiner, who has just lost it out of that tight first corner. We said it before, didn't we? You're looking to take a sharp turn left, but part of your attention there is on the right-hand side to see if anybody's coming out of the pits. It's a bit of a dangerous pit exit, that, and I think Steiner has just fallen foul of that a little bit, and that is not a good start to the weekend for Bancroft, currently sitting 16th and 18th in the standings. They are hot on Hemlock's tail in the constructors, but I feel like Viaber and Hürstler, currently 17th and 19th, will re-overtake them in that last run out. The track is about to start drying up, and it's going to be about time to start getting golden tunes on our cars. We've only got to get 12 for Von Heim. 1 2/3 to... The 4 to 15 is better. The problem with this is we could go over. The last thing, I said control the odds. I said we don't want to risk anything going, you know, against us and ruining our season. Let's do the 1 to 7. Let's do the 2 to 5. Now we're left with such a risk. A 7 or an 8 will burn us. And it's a 3. Golden tune for Von Heim on the steering. The golden gods are looking down on us with favor, at least for now. And now it's time to start looking towards the engine. So, times out by 5, a 0 to 10 or a 2 to 10. I don't ever want to get a 0. We'll try the 2 to 10. A 5 is not terrible. We'll hit the 1 to 2. We'll hit the 1 to 4. Could have saved a point there. Either way, how are we looking on potentially softs? It's definitely not soft range. Maybe next run we do it, but they're both on inters for this one. Von Heim that goes on to softs first, I think, and takes the gamble. The 1 to 5 for Rodriguez immediately puts us onto a golden tune, and we can start getting to work on that engine. 1 2/3. I mean, here's the thing though. The chassis is just total speed. Now, it's not just top speed, right? It's like, I read that to mean like everything. But also there's overtaking opportunities, you know, at the end of the long strats, I forget what the name is, and on both of these start-finish straights. I'm going to send Rodriguez in the opposite direction here, I think. We're going to go chassis. We have to start hedging our bets. So, 0 to 5, we get a 4. 1 1/4 to 10. 2 to 11 is just better. 6. 0 to 2 and 0 to 5. 0 to 2. Let's keep the risk low, because you see, we ended up with a 0. Times 2.5 on this is 2.5 to 10. 5 to 20 is miles better, and we pull off a 20. Okay, 1 to 3 finishes it up, and already Rodriguez is halfway towards a golden tune on the chassis. We'll strap on those inters, and we'll send them out. Von Heim gets out onto the track. Rodriguez is not long behind him. There's a gaggle of cars on the opposite side of the track at the moment. I think it's because they've got out for the yellow flag, potentially. Everybody rocking inters now. Moretti currently leads by 1/100th of a second over Mach, and that championship fight is going to the wire, I think. I mean, Moretti could seal it. I don't think they can seal it this weekend. I think they can seal it next weekend, you know, if they win. Mathematically anyway, but Moretti is actually going faster on the inters. Holgerson's putting in a green sector there. Do we see Holgerson move up the order here? We do not. Moretti also does not improve. It's just on one sector. And in terms of our times, yeah, we're still 4 seconds odd down. So I think the next one, we might send Von Heim out on the softs just to see what we can do. We're sitting very nice at the moment, 8th and 9th. Holgerson, I think, obviously will come back a little bit, but let's see. Von Heim then. We're going engine. We're looking at 1 2/3 to 15. 6 to 16 is just overall better. A 7 is not great though. 4 to 6 and 1 to 5. Times that by 1.5. It's 1.5 to 7.5. The overlap is huge. And this is what I don't like. The only way that this will get us more than this at all is if we get a 6. And if we get anything else, we could have got it with the 2. So we're going to play conservatively. Times that by 2.5. It's 0 to 12.5. I don't want to risk a 0. 4 to 17, 9 is not bad at all. 1 to 2 or 1 to 7, that's a 3 to 6. We go with the 1 to 2, another 1 to 2, and a 1 to 3. We're halfway there. Halfway to an engine golden tune for Von Heim. This is where they diverge a little bit. The wet range is... We're going to take the risk. Von Heim, do not crash. Please do not crash. On Rodriguez's side, the 0, I don't like the chance to have a 0 there, spending 5 points. The 2 to 4 it is. Ooh, times 1 1/4. We got 2.5 to 17.5. It's just better and for cheaper as well. 4 is not great. A 2 to 4 or a 4 to 12. 4 to 12. A 5. Oh, this is not landing well. Let's take a gamble at the end because it can't go over into the red, but it could be a golden tune. And it is! Oh, a huge gamble there. Rodriguez now can spend the rest of the session just focusing on getting that engine performance up. And we're going to send them out on the inters. Play it safe. And let's see what Von Heim can do on those softs. It does seem like everybody on their outlap is going back onto softs. So maybe Rodriguez does in fact want to come in and change tires. This is not the run, Rodriguez. Don't worry. Your next run will be the timed one that you need to worry about, the one after. This one is just for feedback, okay? We're just playing it a bit safe. Mack with a purple first sector is a story worth reading. There's faster sectors now all across the board. Von Heim has gone faster. Schaub might end up pipping Rodriguez here and goes 5th fastest. Track Evo is huge now. And now soft tires are the name of the game for the rest of this session. This is going to be the one where I need to see how long it's going to take them to get around a full lap. It took Rodriguez quite a bit longer to get around on those inters already, so the softs are definitely the preferred tire right now. 0 to 5 or a 3 to 9. I don't like the idea of a 0, so we're going to do that. A 6 is okay. A 1 to 3 or a 1 to 4, we're going to spend less, and it's a 1. 0 either way, so we're going to spend less again. Oh, 5 to 13 or 2 to 17. These look vaguely the same kind of range, but this is cheaper. Okay, 4 to 7 or 4 to 12. It's a 50-50 chance that we'd get that this would be worth it. So we're going to stick with the 4 to 7. 2 to 5, 0 to 3. And we're so close. Oh, we're so close. Oh, we're so close. Okay, on to the softs, Von Heim. Rodriguez is laughing right now, at least about the tuning, not about the tires. So 1.25, and we're looking at what, 3.75 to 15. It's worth staying with that one, I think. I don't like the idea of a 0. 11, that's good. 1 1/3 is 2 1/3 to about 11. It's not going to be worth spending the extra. 2 to 5. I don't like the idea of a 0. But we're going to have to risk it there. Okay, about a third of the way along. They might get that third golden tune, maybe. And now it's a timing game. So we send them out with 10:50 left on the clock. 1 minute 30. 1 minute 37. I'm going to round that up to 1 minute 40. We'll say 1:45. Maybe 2 minutes on the clock. But 1:45 is as late as we can realistically leave it on that final run when we get to it. Von Heim green in both of these sectors at the moment. Where's he going to put it? That's the big question. 6th position is huge. A second clear of Schaub. Rodriguez comes in behind him by half a second. And this is big for the boys. We're currently ahead of DuPont as well, but I don't think that's going to stick. But ahead of Schaub is where we want to be. That's the crucial thing here. 10:50 to 5:50. Took us 5 minutes to do the outlap, flying lap, and in-lap. We do not have time for another run before the final one, so this will be it. Because the track Evo through this drying up, it's not going to be worth doing a run now for the sake of it and then tuning up again. It's just not going to be worth it. Let's give Von Heim that second golden tune. We love that. And now it's onto the chassis. How much can we get out of this for Von Heim? I mean, a lot of this is overlapping, so we're going to go with the cheap one. I don't like the idea of a 0 having spent 4 points, so we're going to go with the 1 to 4. 1 2/3 would be 2 2/3 to 9 or 10. 3 to 18 might be worth it. A 7 makes it not worth it at all. A 0 to 2. There it is. No triple golden tunes for Von Heim. We've got a double golden tune. We're going to get those softs on, and we're going to now play the waiting game. Rodriguez looking to potentially seal that third golden tune. Can it be done? There's a huge overlap here. We're playing it safe. We're going to spend less. 0 to 2 or 0 to 5. Definitely 0 to 2. 0 to 20, I don't want to spend 5 points and end up with a 0. I just don't want it to happen. Oh, but I mean, is there anything to lose here? This could be huge. It wouldn't leave us with much to do, though. So I think we're going to stick to that for now. A 1 to 6, we get the 3. 0 to 4, a 2 to 8, a 0 to 3. Not quite. 10 points off, but it's a strong tune. And now we've got to send our second driver out with 1:45 to go. Von Heim has been quicker overall. We're going to send Rodriguez out with about 1:55 and Von Heim with 1:45. Currently sitting in 9th and 11th. 1:55 and he's out. 1:45 and he's out. Okay, Rodriguez has space. Von Heim has enough space. Not a huge amount. But we should now hit the flying lap right as we go across. Hürstler might actually have timed it even better. But will they actually make it across the line is the question. We definitely will. And will Hürstler make it across the line? No! Biaba hasn't. Hurstler did, apparently. I'm not so convinced about that. I'm not so convinced the guy with the stopwatch on the finishing line has got that right. But here it is. Schaub improved massively. Von Heim is also improving. We don't know what's happening with Rodriguez. Oh, Rodriguez has gone over in 9th. Von Heim in 10th. We're both ahead of Schaub. Von Heim actually should be behind Schaub because it was the exact same time and we did it last. But I'm not going to complain. 2 drivers starting in the top 10 and ahead of Schaub. I don't know what happened with Von Heim, but Rodriguez will start ahead of him. This is going to be huge for us. This does put us into a little bit of a conundrum because we're not going to have the desire to pit them for reliability if they hold these positions, because if they're in the points. The race will start dry and get wet. It's going to be a strategy game. Oh, this is going to be very interesting. There's the opportunity that we could try the sponsor challenge, but I don't want to risk it, I think. I want to push the engine, I think, a little bit. But then, I mean, looking at our reliability, maybe it's not worth. There's questions each way. Jan Schaub, of course, being a hooner, wears their tires and they also are more likely to crash. Now, as long as that's not into one of our people or fatally, it's okay, right? It's okay if that happens. The fact that we are both ahead of Schaub off the start is going to be huge for us. Now, projected tire life for this race. With rain coming, the rain will start to come at about lap 25. Probably about lap 26, 27 is probably when we're going to want to get off the dry tires. What that's going to be is either conserving on mediums or normal on hards, but with the opportunity to push a little bit. The hards might be the favored race tire here. I think both of them are going to start on hards here, I think. The question now is, do we sack off the sponsor challenge? The sponsor challenge could buy us the chance to upgrade both cars instead of one next week. But I think we're in such a precarious position that that's a kind of gamble we can't take right now. So I think we burn off the start. So 61 laps around the Circuit Erste in Belgium. Can we hold off Pope and Jan Schaub? It's quite symbolic that Schaub is 1 position behind our drivers because Pope are 1 position behind us in the constructors. Let's do this and let's see how we get on. Joel Ryan of LeBron partied a bit too hard. We know they do it. We've talked about it a lot. He's in 4th. He's lagging behind his teammate by 13 points in the championship. Maybe things like this are why. Paul Woods, of course, we know is also a party animal, so maybe not, because there he is. It was probably the McLaren team party to celebrate securing 2nd in the Constructors' Championship. I don't think mathematically they have, but realistically they have. And Levi Mack. Oh, Mack maybe drinking his cares away a little bit. He's maybe trying to cope with the fact that he's now losing his championship to his teammate. Let's see where this goes. What's really fascinating to me is Schaub, Silva, Acosta, and Morel behind us are all on softs, looking to get the run off us off the line. They might do, but I don't think that's going to be the play. I really don't think that's going to be the play. Even if they're conserving on softs, they're going to have to pit a good 10 laps before the rains come. I don't think that strategy is going to work for them. I think we're onto something here, but let's find out as we go for 61 laps around the Circuit Erste. It's lights off and race on as we head out with it's all change around that compact first few corners, but it seems like Rodriguez has come out the best of it, up in 7th. Schaub has dropped all the way to 14th, not the start they were looking for on those fresh soft tires, but Rodriguez is mixing it up with the top 4 teams at the moment. Holgerson, we expect on those softs, will get past them pretty quickly. But for now, Von Heim is playing defense, guarding Rodriguez's 7th position. He doesn't last long as Silva, of all people, coming up out of nowhere to overtake. But Rodriguez holding that 7th position right now. And as a number of people just settling in, I think at the end of this lap here, we're going to tell Rodriguez just to settle down a little bit. And that we will do. In fact, both of them, because we don't want them getting... Oh, I was so nervous there. We don't want them getting too excited and ending up in a wall. You got to buck up. I'm sorry, Rodriguez. That's all we're going to push for to begin with. And you, Von Heim. I think we'll be okay as Von Heim just sent one on Holgerson towards the end of the start-finish straight right there. And Von Heim is playing serious defense for Rodriguez here because Holgerson's the biggest threat, I think, right now to Rodriguez's 7th position. But this is exactly the start we wanted. Schaub has managed to find his way back up to 11th, is past his teammate now, as Holgerson says, hey, if you can do it, I can do it on the very next lap, does exactly what Von Heim did to them. After those 2 long straights, sometimes with all that slipstream, it's just difficult to hold them off into turn 1. But right now, Holgerson is on a rampage and will probably be appearing in Rodriguez's rearview mirror quite soon. As we see, there is a yellow flag. Where is that? And it is Steiner. It is Steiner once again. Bancroft having an issue here with their drivers. This weekend has been terrible for them, and their aim to try and take 7th off Hemlock in the Constructors looks to be rapidly flying away from them as we all slow down. This resets the race a little bit with the double yellows. The VSC, for you future viewers, I don't know what that means here in 1970. I don't know why I just said VSC. That's 3 letters that I don't know why they go together. But this actually plays into the hands of the soft tire runners quite nicely. So maybe this is what Pope were banking on when they put the soft tires on their drivers. And maybe they're laughing now. We're going to want our boys to push to hold position here. If Von Heim loses out to Schaub, this is when things could get a bit messy. Green flag. We're going to tell them to push. We did just spend 2.5 laps under yellow flag, and that means we could be okay to push for 2 laps in response here, as Von Heim is actually all over the back of Silva now. Off that restart, Schaub is not the person that's close to Von Heim anymore. Rodriguez has managed to get away from Holgerson a little bit, which is great to see up in front. We're going to tell Rodriguez to just hold up a little bit. Can Von Heim get past Silva on this straight? End of this straight. If he can't send it, and he can't, we're going to tell him to drop back as well. Just take it easy. Not conserve, but just do what you're supposed to be doing. Rodriguez is up there saying that he's sorry for not being able to get past Joel Ryan in a McLaren. And honestly, Rodriguez, don't worry about it. It's fine. I wouldn't have expected you to get past Joel Ryan in a McLaren any day of the week. But Holgerson finally about to make that car performance tell as the rain starts to fall. Holgerson on those softs takes 7th place from Rodriguez. But this is the start we wanted. This is the first stint we were looking for here today. And now it becomes, when do we switch onto intermediate tires or even wets? Because it looks like it's just going to keep raining. So do we head straight to wets or do we go to inters? Now, the last time we had that decision, Von Heim on Rolando took the wets and then it went dry again, and it was not good for Von Heim. So maybe we just stay, maybe we, I'm not sure what we do yet. Von Heim still behind Silva, but crucially still ahead of Schaub. Those soft tires really starting to fall away for them now. The first part of that first stint is what we were worried about, because that's where we could have found the Pope drivers coming right up behind us. I'm less worried now with Schaub being 3 seconds plus behind and those soft tires really wearing down. Von Heim is all over the back of Silva meanwhile and gets him down the straight into that final chicane. Rodriguez and Von Heim sitting 8th and 9th now. Von Heim a massive 12 seconds behind Rodriguez by this point, but still putting in a great job here. And this is what we want, boys. This is the double points finish we're dreaming of right here. We're going to hold out until the rain comes on these hard tires. Meanwhile, some of the soft runners behind us, and Holgerson in front of Rodriguez, by the way, will also have to pit before the rain, I reckon. Unless they're going to seriously conserve, which none of them seem to be doing. How much is that double yellow going to have affected things? That's the question. How much will that double yellow have saved the soft tire runners from having to make an additional pit stop? That's going to be crucial, because Holgerson, I mean, Rodriguez is keeping them honest. They're still 3-4 seconds behind. There's no way that Holgerson can pit and come out in front of Rodriguez. I mean, maybe even can't come out in front of Von Heim. This is huge for us. This is exactly what we needed to see. Rodriguez definitely putting in a stint. Same with Von Heim, who sits 6 seconds ahead of Maldonado. Now, Maldonado, I was going to say, is going to be a threat, but now they have hit the wall on the straight, just clipped a puddle there, and it's going to be some pit stops for the soft runners to get a cheap pit stop. That doesn't mean they get a free one, but it is cheaper. Everybody's pitting onto inters. This is fascinating. In 2 laps' time, when this dies down, where are we going to be? Maybe inters? Maybe inters. I think we have to take advantage of it, because if we don't pit now, how many laps are we going to have? Maybe 5 or 6 where we have the edge and then we have to pit anyway. Oh, I'm so torn. I think Von Heim has to pit to cover off the Schaub threat. We might have to split the strategy again. And these inters will take us at normal pace 22 laps. So that would be about lap 40, which is when it might just go wet. We're going to leave Rodriguez out for now for a few more laps. Von Heim, meanwhile, comes in onto those inters. Now, how much is our long pit stop time going to cost us? Because that's always been a problem for us. Schaub is on that final pit straight now. Von Heim gets out of the pits behind Viaber, but crucially ahead of Schaub. And then complains on the way out of the box that the car is a literal potato. Like, yeah, change the tire, guys. By the way, I'm a potato! As it goes green again, Rodriguez can push a bit more to try and edge that gap out. We're going to have to keep an eye on those lap times to see who's doing what. This next lap now. It's not the one they've just done, but it's this next lap that's going to start to educate us on where things are on the lap times. Rodriguez is, of course, pushing right now, so that does distort it a little bit. But we shall see. Okay, Rodriguez. You can ease up, Rodriguez. We don't need you to try and overtake Joel Ryan. Rodriguez puts in a 128.7. Now, what about the people on the inters? What are they putting in right now? Viaber and Von Heim. Von Heim's the best comparison, probably. A 132. It's definitely still dry. I wasn't wrong about that. The cover off of Schaub was essential, I feel, though. So this is good. What about that next lap? 133. This is the crossover point. I think Rodriguez now might need to come in. We're going to push and see what we can do on a push lap for Rodriguez. A 133.6 and a 133.8. Now, he's definitely dropping away from Woods, even on push, so I think it's time we pit him. Oh, when does it become wet? Wet is about half to 2/3 of the water on the track. We're going to pause you there, Rodriguez. I mean, that's what? Lap 38? He's not going to make it to the end anyway. So I think it's got to be inters. It's got to be inters for now. Okay, on to intermediate tires then for Rodriguez. Slides down the pit straight into the box. Can he hold on to 8th position ahead of Viaber? He's going to be the big... I mean, Viaber has to pit, actually, so yes, he can. Viaber also does come into pit as well. And Rodriguez here can now chill out a little bit and just settle in. Rodriguez being lapped. The Ferraris up in front, 25 laps in. They've already lapped both of our drivers in 8th and 9th, which is crazy. But crucially, Moretti's still ahead. There's only 4 seconds in it between them. And Mack has slightly fresher tires, but they're still ahead. Now, Schaub is 3.5 seconds behind Von Heim on the normal fuel levels. So this is where we should... Actually, Schaub is closing in quite quickly. This is where we could start to see an issue between us and Schaub if the Poke car is in fact quicker. Now, Schaub in that position will score a point. Currently where we are is 6 points, which would be huge for us. If Schaub overtakes, that's 5-2, which is still a gain for us. If Schaub overtakes Rodriguez, it's 4-3 to them, which would bring us level in the constructors. Schaub is really bearing down on Rodriguez right now. I think Von Heim can afford to push, and should, to be honest. Schaub is completely burning, actually. He's on a real push. I think we can afford Von Heim to keep pushing right now. And in fact, even Rodriguez as well, because they're going to have to switch to wet quick enough. Like, soon enough, so... yeah, about lap 36, 37, 38. Schaub is still right there on the back of Von Heim, though. Now falls away a little bit. We're going to tell Von Heim to ease up a touch. Rodriguez will do the same. And Schaub is that question mark for us. It definitely seems like they have more pace. And clearly fuel to burn as well. Whereas we do not have fuel to burn right now. But the early 2 DNFs have definitely helped with the fuel burn a little bit. So we might have something to burn later on. But for now, just got to stay as it is. We're going to tell Von Heim to push again. He's in the zone. Rodriguez's chassis has failed. Unbelievable. From 8th position. And do you believe it? The bad luck for our team continues. We knew the reliability was a problem. There's no flag. But that means now it's all on Von Heim to try and stay in the points. And ideally ahead of Schaub. But as long as you're still 9th. Well, actually, no, if 8th and 9th, Schaub would put Pope in the lead. Von Heim just got to stay ahead of Jan Schaub. What a tumultuous end to the season as Jan Schaub hits the wall. And I don't mean to sound excited about that by any means, because it's not what we need in the sport. But, oh, that takes the pressure off us somewhat now. That really takes the pressure off us. It's not wet territory just yet, so we're not going to pit right now. It's a 5-minute double yellow. You know what? The scales tip. Anything can happen in Formula 1. And right there it did, as we got terrible luck with Rodriguez's chassis. And then Schaub gave us some good fortune. I do hope Schaub's okay. To win 5th place over them would not be what we want to do under the circumstances of a death. You know, to be respectful, I think that's obvious. Wet tires right now would be 22 laps on a normal. So you're looking at 39. I don't really want to pit yet, but it's going to be soon, isn't it? Everybody's pitting. We've just got to cover it off. We've just got to cover it off. We're going to play it safe. We do have an entire pit stop ahead of Silver at the moment. Acosta might actually have us, unfortunately. We should come out of the pits just as the yellows end, which would be absolutely perfectly timed. Now, the question is, where is Acosta? Here he is, up in 9th right here. Can Von Heim get out of the box before Acosta gets out of turn 1? No, because it's a slow pit stop. Not only will he drop to 9th, but he'll drop to 10th. Gets out of the pits in 10th, and the scales tip once again away from us. Green flag, race is on. We've got to hope Von Heim's car doesn't fail in the same way that Rodriguez's has. And it wasn't the engine, so I don't think we need to worry about easing up on the engine, but wow. This is horrendous for us right now. The Arbor will have to pit off those inters at some point. How are we looking? I mean, Von Heim he's gaining and losing, isn't he, really? It's a tough one. He's losing a little bit to the inters. But the question is, when does Viarba pit? Not now. It's not yet. I'm torn right now between pushing Von Heim to catch Viarba even more and then making a second pit stop during the wet, or we just conserve towards the end and go with the 1 stop or the 2 stop at this point, sorry. And I think we're going to have to do 2 stop. I don't think we can afford to push the car that much. My main concern right now is the reliability of Von Heim's car. Silver sits behind Von Heim currently. We're going to watch that gap and see what happens to it. If Von Heim can pull away, we will be able to let him conserve his tires towards the end. And that would be ideal, honestly. Or maybe even conserve on fuel, because that is where it's going to become crucial. Acosta, 20 seconds up the road almost. That gap is staying pretty consistent as well. Those last laps, look. Von Heim and Acosta, pretty similar to each other. Acosta actually 2 seconds faster. Silver right there with Von Heim. We were also getting held up by the lead drivers coming around and lapping Von Heim, so we could be okay for a while. That gap's gone up to 7. Von Heim once again in the zone, and we love to see that. Another yellow flag, and that will make the 1 stop a lot easier for Von Heim. We love to see that. We don't love it to be an issue, but it's the championship leader, Moretti. Moretti on the back straight. I'm not sure if he was trying to lap someone or he just couldn't hold it, but it's on a straight, and Moretti has DNF'd, which might put a real dampener on his championship hopes, as Mack is surely going to take the win here today and go 6 points ahead of Moretti in the title race. Wow. Today has been eventful. 5 DNFs, 1 our very own Rodriguez, 1 our main championship rival Schaub. Wax on, wax off, eh? This really is a day for the ages in motorsport. As the green flag flies, I said 1 stop earlier, this 2 stop will be easier as Von Heim celebrates overtaking the crashed Moretti. But this does put us in a good position versus Pope. Now, Kukkinen is 10th. because of that. So Kukkonen would secure the point. If Von Heim's car fails, Kukkonen would level it with Pope and Knight in the constructors. Now, we don't want that. Not at all. But this reliability issues have been plaguing us all for the back half of the season. And I mean, I think you'll agree, we can't afford to pit Von Heim now. With Kukkonen 10th and Von Heim less than a pit stop in front, I mean, we know it takes us about a minute to secure the pit stop, so there'd need to be a hell of a lot of gain for that to happen. Silver's starting to wear those wet tires down a little bit more than we are. Has closed the gap to 5 seconds on Von Heim, but I feel confident. As long as there's no reliability issues with Von Heim today, I feel like we might hold off Silver and take home 8th, which would be 4 points to Kukkonen's 1, which would put us 4 points ahead of Pope in the standings going into the last 2 races of the season. That gap is down by another second. By the end of the race, we'll probably only have 10-15% of our tires left. But at this rate, if Silver keeps pushing, Silver may have to pit before the end. So that would be very beneficial to us. With 11 laps to go, I think Von Heim might have this. I don't want to push Von Heim's car anymore because of the reliability. I'd ideally not like to have to push his tires either. I believe in Von Heim's ability to hold Silver off. Silver is definitely on a push right now. You can see he's still pushing those tires, which are now, I wouldn't say considerably more worn than ours, but there's definitely some blistering coming in. We could afford to push soon. Silver is all over the back of us. Silver's tires do not have the life that Von Heim's tires do. I still believe in Von Heim. As Silver eases up, the gap extends again. And you see that gap extends quite quickly. Von Heim's just driving sensibly here. Silver burning through those tires, the gap back up over 2 seconds. There was a little bit of concern there for a second, but I think Von Heim might just have outlasted Silver's final attempt. As Silver drops further and further away, I think we were right to just hold off on this push. Now Von Heim's car just has to make it over the line. Silver now 3.5 seconds away. Mark is up in first. Wood second and Ryan 6th is very interesting, by the way. Ryan is 27 points ahead of Bregman in the standings, but that could be closed in a lot with Bregman getting third here. Because that's 15 points for Bregman. Currently 8 for Ryan. That's 7 points closed in. I don't think it'll be enough to make a dent in the championship, to be honest, in that 4th place in the Drivers' Championship. But that's not what we're focused on right now. What we're focused on right now is Von Heim. Artie Von Heim. The last bastion of Night L&S point scorers. We haven't scored any points for the past 2 weekends, and it's been a low point for Night L&S fans. Is this a return to relative glory for us today? Or will Von Heim's car fall out before the end? That chassis at 25% is a concern. And Silver starting to close in once more. Burning a little bit of fuel towards the end. I think Von Heim might be able to do the same, actually. It's a bit of a risk. Maybe just for a couple of laps. I know I said I wouldn't do it. But I just want to hold off Silver a little bit. Silver's fallen behind 3 seconds again. I think we're going to ease up. We don't want to push that engine a moment more than we have to. We don't want to push it a moment more than we have to, that's all. And there will soon be 4 laps left. Von Heim has still held Silver off. And this is going to have been quite the roller coaster, honestly. Because Rodriguez would have been 7th and Von Heim would have been 9th. We'd have got 8 points out of that. We're going to have to settle for 4, which is half as many, obviously. But honestly, 4 is great today. It is better than the 0 we've had to get for the last 2 race weekends. 5 DNFs this weekend, including championship leader and current golden lap holder, Moretti. Incredible. Silver now more than 4.5 seconds behind. Might end up being lapped by Woods as well, who, by the way, is about to be lapped by Mack. Mac an entire lap ahead of the rest of the field, and this is about to certify it, I think. As we're about to see Levi Mack go past Woods. Woods doesn't fight it, of course, on the outside. The blue flags are waving. And there it is. Silva now behind the race leaders. We're just going to get Von Heim to drop the fuel burn a little bit. I think we can afford it now. 7 seconds the difference. I think we can also take the tire burn down. Von Heim's just going to coast. We just don't want him to end up in the wall. We don't want the car to break. As we let Levi Mack past. The same will happen for Paul Woods. There it is. 5 seconds now the gap to Silva back there. 4 seconds 40. 4.0. I think we're just going to take things to normal again. We had a lap off. 2.8. You see, I'm not keen on this late push that Silva's trying to have here. But as we go over the line, we hold it off. Von Heim comes home in 8th. Oh, what a weekend that was. Ups and downs. Team and driver standings are on your screen now. When the next episode's been recorded, that will be on the left-hand side for you. In the meantime, there's going to be another video that I think you should watch. And I look forward to next weekend trying to repeat this performance. I'll see you over there. Cush out.